and it's cold.
I don't know which party my wife belongs to, but she belongs to my kitchen and my living room and the other room.
Stay in tune with politics on 32 FM 94.9.
Safa sapheli sizwe simnyama iwasafa isizwe saba yavula moyo 𝐿𝐼𝐕𝐄 wemaye wemolo safa sapheli sizwe simnyama iwasafa isizwe saba yavula moyo 𝐿𝐼𝐕𝐄 wemaye ngiyakhala safa pheli sizwe simnyama iwasafa isizwe sabantu alamula 𝐿𝐼𝐕𝐄 wemaye wemolo
Good morning, welcome to the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Good to have you join us on the conversation this morning. Now, we'll begin this morning with the United States because as a world power, when you sneeze, the entire world shivers. If you remember, April last year, where President Trump announced a series of tariffs against American trade partners and allies as well as adversaries, with the baseline being 10%. Lots of countries were affected, from the EU to Africa and Asia as well. If you remember, South Africa getting about 20-something% tariff on U.S. goods, even Nigeria as well, with concerns that it was going to affect the AGOA treaty with the U.S. signed with African countries years ago. Now, that tariff that was announced was challenged all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court yesterday overturned that decision. Now, the court's Friday ruling, according to Trump, was deeply disappointing. According to him, he says the justices who joined the majority opinion should be absolutely ashamed and lack the courage to do the right thing. Trump said, turning his response into a sweeping attack against the branch of government in the United States. Now, the broadside was remarkable, even for a president known for blowing past political norms and publicly berating institutions who challenge his authority. And there are those who say this is a huge blow to Donald Trump's, Make America Great Again policy, or America First policy, which some people have said has threatened the multilateral framework of the international system. So it was a 6-3 judgment, actually, by the Apex Court in the United States. Although President Trump praised the three members of the court, that's Justice Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Brett Kavanaugh, who actually voted to keep his authority intact. Brett Kavanaugh, if you remember, was appointed by Donald Trump himself to the Supreme Court bench because at the time there were issues concerning the political stance of some of these justices of that Apex Court. So regardless of that judgment, he said he's going to impose a new 10% global tariff to replace the ones struck down by the Supreme Court, calling the ruling terrible and lambasting the justices who rejected the trade policy as quote and unquote fools who didn't like the country enough. So it was a big blow to him and the policy announced last April. Let's take a listen to Donald Trump reacting to that Supreme Court ruling, which many have also continued to react to, looking at how developed the American democracy is, how institutions can sometimes stand up to regardless of who is incumbent president. People raising questions as to whether or not we can see something like that here in Nigeria, whether the Supreme Court can have that gravitas to go against what the executive is standing for. Take a listen.
Wow. A lot of people. That's a new record. We set a record every time. Well, thank you very much for being here. The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way. Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long, that I can assure you. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. You can't knock their loyalty. It's one thing you can do with some of our people. Others think they're being politically correct, which has happened before far too often with certain members of this court, and it's happened so often with this court. What a shame. Having to do with voting in particular, when in fact they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats, and not that this should have anything at all to do with it. They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small...
Well, Donald Trump there lashing out at the Supreme Court justices who voted against what was a key decision as he won his re-election. Second term, not necessarily re-election. He had lost his re-election bid. He came back again and won that one. So there's also an interesting angle to it as well, because the U.S. Supreme Court has an ideological tilt to it. Two justices out of the 6 who voted against those tariffs are liberal justices, while 3 conservative appointed by Trump were the ones who dissented. One of them actually was appointed by Trump. That's Brett Kavanaugh, was the one who dissented in his judgment. Let's quickly join our in-house panelists before our guest joins us on the conversation this morning. Professor Remi Ayede, Department of Political Science, University of Ibadan. Prof, good morning, sir. Good to have you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be on the Podium this morning. Good morning to Barrister, and then, of course, to our listeners across the world.
Thank you. Good morning, Barrister. Barrister Yomi Ogunla is our in-house panelist as well. Barrister, good morning, sir.
Yes, Dr. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Noble Prof, good morning. I see our guest has also come on board.
Yes, yes.
Good morning. Morning.
All right. Good morning, sir. We're trying to connect with you earlier. Let me just... so our guest this morning is Dr. YUSUF Mamman. Is a national chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council in Nigeria, the umbrella body for all registered political parties. He was re-elected for his second 2-year term in December last year. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. So before you joined us, we're trying to quickly unpack the Supreme Court decision in the United States. So please stay on the line. Let's quickly get the thoughts of our panelists, and then we'll come back to you, Doctor. Thank you. Okay, so let me go to Prof. I mean, this is a landmark decision by the U.S. Supreme Court, and it has also raised questions as well about the development of our institutions here back home, whether or not we can have such bold decision. Well, depending on how you look at it, because if you're a Trump supporter, to be seen as a dent to his, protectionist or make America great again agenda. So what's your reading of the situation, especially the fact that justices there also have a political tilt or ideological tilt as well? We have those who are non-liberal justices. We have those who are also conservative in their ideology, and they don't hide it really. So what's your reading of the situation and the framework of those institutions in that advanced democracy?
Well, I think you know that the American judicial system is slightly different from our own. They are often elected at that high level, but appointed at that high level. But at lower level, some of them are elected through the ballot, and it's a miss, of that process that eventually graduates into the Supreme Court. But importantly, it is not when you say institutions are strong, it all depends on these decisions by those who hold positions in those institutions. They either decide to kowtow to executive power or assert their independence and promote national interests and defend the constitution. We have had our own fair share of some moments in this democracy where institutions actually were assertive. I remember at the beginning, the National Assembly did not kowtow to the president under Obasanjo, and we also saw the judiciary upturning major gubernatorial elections that were visibly marred by malpractices and all of that. At least 5 state governorship elections were overturned. Even in the case of Amici in Rivers State, it was not even on the ballot because of primaries that were mismanaged, and the party was trying to behave like a rogue. And the Supreme Court, in an activist moment, declared that it is the party that wins elections. And once Amici was declared as the candidate of the party, he became governor. So we have had moments of flashes of such possibility of strengthening our institution. But we now have a situation where we have a judiciary that apparently involved in contradictory judgments that leave many people bewildered. I think that's the bottom line is really that institutions don't defend themselves; they don't make themselves strong. They become strong when those who occupy the offices of those institutions assert themselves, defend their mandate, and demonstrate commitment to public interest. And that's what we are seeing in this particular case, that we have had situations where those who were within the executive, the first term rose up against Donald Trump. Many of them were removed and replaced, and those who replaced them also insisted on defending the Constitution. But now you have a situation where those people within the executive have kowtowed to Donald Trump, but luckily for America, the Supreme Court decided otherwise. And it is an interesting decision because you will find that it's not all the conservative justices that dissented. There were some of them who also upheld the rule of law and the Constitution of America. Normally, we would expect Kavanaugh to pander to Trump. The controversy that surrounded his appointment. How Trump stood by him and all of that. So naturally, it will go in that direction. Then we also have Clarence Thomas, the black justice in the Supreme Court. Yes, who has been very conservative in previous judgments. He has asserted independence in some other fundamental cases before. Maybe it's out of convention that he decided that Trump was right. But I'm sure many African Americans will be disappointed with his position. But be that as it may, it is the overall judgment that stands. It's the religious judgment that is the judgment. And my own position is really that Trump has been very unprecedented in his reaction to the judgment. He has lashed out at the Supreme Court and spoken very carelessly about those justices. I think this is not unusual for Trump, but it's very unprecedented. And I hope that Nigerians will take the example of those conservative justices who went against Trump as the example to be followed, and not Kavanaugh and his group who dissented as an example to be followed. Then we also don't expect our president to also follow the path of Trump in the way he speaks about the other institutions. Right. In Nigeria,
Prof, please hold that thought, sir. Please hold that thought, sir. Please hold that thought, sir. We need to take this break. When we get back, we'll finalize your thought. We'll get Barrister's take, and then we'll go to our guest, Maman Yusuf Dantali, on the podium this morning. Just stay with us. We'll be back in a moment.
32 FM
94.9.
This Ramadan, Kivo Non-Dairy Creamer joins families across Nigeria in prayer, reflection, and unity. From iftar to Soho, enrich every cup of tea, coffee, custard, or pap with Kivo creamy goodness.
At sunset, as loved ones gather for iftar, make every moment richer, smoother, and tastier with Kivo Non-Dairy Creamer.
Kivo Non-Dairy Creamer. Make this Ramadan a good time moment.
Kivo Creamer.
Every meal I cook must taste just right. Rich, delicious, full of love.
We hear you. Your Maggie Star in double cubes. Double the flavor, double the convenience. The same trusted taste you love. Maggie Star Double Cubes, made from fermented soya and other selected ingredients for that deep flavor and quality that only Maggie brings to your dishes.
Absolutely delicious.
Get Maggie Double Cubes today. Me and Maggie, so good together.
Ṣadé kù sí ọkọ mi. Wo bí yàrá ìgbàlejò mi àti yàrá ìdáná mi ṣe mọ́ tí wọ́n dàbí titun. Màámi. Ṣùgbọ́n dúró náà, ó ṣe fi hypo nu ilẹ̀ àti tábìlì pẹ̀lú àwọn ibi tá a ti ń dáná yẹn. Hypo kẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, àwọn kòkòrò àìfojúrí kì í gbà lẹ́rọ̀. Torí náà làwa náà ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ máa pèsè ààbò lójoojúmọ́ pẹ̀lú hypo.
Má gbà fáwọn kòkòrò àìfojúrí, dáàbò bo ilé rẹ pẹ̀lú hypo.
Umar, since when did you start bringing surprise iftar packages home? See Malta Guinness.
I didn't buy this one. No. Remember that woman I said I helped this morning with a heavy generator?
Yes, how can I forget?
That same one. Her grandson Ibrahim bought this masa and Malta Guinness.
See, sharing goodness brings blessings. Please pass me the can of Malta Guinness. We need to call our neighbors to join us at the table.
This Ramadan, nourish your iftar with the great taste of malted Guinness. Malted Guinness, sharing goodness brings blessings.
This Ramadan, emotions ignite. Can rival sisters overcome pride? Will a defiant daughter find forgiveness? Can a bride's faith save her husband? A businessman rediscovers family. An influencer chooses between friends and fame. A single mom discovers even strength needs support.
6 stories, 30 days. Faith, family, friendship, food, forgiveness. Tales of Ramadan Season 2. Catch every dramatic moment on TV and digital. This Ramadan, Maggie turns up the heat.
Me and Maggie, so good together.
Jẹ́ nínú ẹ̀bùn owó tó lé ní 80 million naira àtàwọn ẹ̀bùn míì tó jojú ní gbèsè nínú ìdíje Golden Hunt promo yìí.
Kò yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ìkéde yìí mọ́ rárá. Pàápàá tó tún ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ẹ̀bùn owó tó jẹ́ 80 million naira àti ẹ̀bùn mìíràn tí wọ́n tún mẹ́nu bà.
Kí ló dé tó fi sọ bẹ́ẹ̀?
Nítorí pé ìyá mi nìkan ti tó láti wá díẹ̀ tó tún lọ́rọ̀ owó tó jẹ́ 80 million naira nínú.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí ìṣàwárí náà bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ẹ ṣáà ti ra yálà òdiwọ̀n 30 gram àti 45 gram Golden Mon Golden Hunt tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́. Ẹ yẹnu rẹ̀ wò fún nọ́mbà àrà ọ̀tọ̀ kan kí ẹ sì tẹ *8011*1# kẹ́lẹ̀ ní àǹfààní àti jẹ̀bù ńlá. Promo parí ní April 15, 2026. Golden Mon jẹ́ kí gbogbo ọjọ́ ó dàbí wúrà.
gbogbo kọ́lékọ́lé àtàgbàlékọ́ ẹ̀ wá gbọ́n tí mo fẹ́ wí àlàyé tó wà nínú rẹ̀ ní kẹ́ ẹ bá ń fetí sí. torí pàlàyé inú rẹ̀ ní selọ́dà bíi abc. pàtàkì lílo òrùlé jẹ̀rá roofing system ló tí mo fẹ́ wí. òrùlé jẹ̀rá di tó jójúlówó kì í ti ṣá tàbí pàwọ̀dà. bẹ́ẹ̀ o lè gbọ́ ṣàrẹ̀ṣàrẹ̀ òjò lábẹ́ òrùlé jẹ̀rá di. bóòrùn ràn minimini lábẹ́ ilé tẹ́ bá fi òrùlé jẹ̀rá di bọ́ máa tutù. ó tún bu ẹwà òun yìí kọ́lé tí ó sì gbé yọ sóńbẹ̀. láti wá ra ojúlówó òrùlé jẹ̀rá lẹ́dínwó pátápátá. Laola Mega Top Concept Limited lasojú àtàlágbàtà kan gbòógì lórílẹ̀‐èdè nàìjíríà fún iléeṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe gerard roofing system tó jẹ́ stone coated látòrílẹ̀‐èdè new zealand tó wá pẹ̀lú warranty 50 ọdún gbáko lọ́ọ̀sẹ̀ nílò láti dààmú lọ sílùú èkó mọ́. àwọn kọ́lékọ́lé àtàgbálẹ́kọ́ tí wọ́n mọ yìí ń dáradára ni wọ́n mú di trọ́ọ̀kì wọlé sí Laola Mega Top Concept Limited adex road orogun express òpópónà márosẹ̀ ọjọ́ nílùú ìbàdàn ni wọ́n kalẹ̀ sí 08185481113.
Umar, since when did you start bringing surprise iftar packages home? See Malta Guinness.
I didn't buy this one. No. Remember that woman I said I helped this morning with a heavy generator?
Yes, how can I forget?
That same one. Her grandson Ibrahim bought this masa and Malta Guinness.
See, sharing goodness brings blessings. Please pass me the can of Malta Guinness. We need to call our neighbors to join us at the table.
This Ramadan, nourish your iftar with the great taste of malted Guinness. Malted Guinness, sharing goodness brings blessings.
Every meal I cook must taste just right. Rich, delicious, full of love.
We hear you. Your Maggie Star in double cubes. Double the flavor, double the convenience. The same trusted taste you love. Maggie Star Double Cubes. Made from fermented soya and other selected ingredients for that deep flavor and quality that only Maggie brings to your dishes.
Absolutely delicious.
Get Maggie Double Cubes today. Me and Maggie, so good together.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back, the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. Prof, you were making a point before we went on that break regarding how Trump lashed out, and then, we should not see it as a model of how to react to a critical institution in the judiciary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, we have a tendency of taking the bad example as the ideal, especially when it is convenient, especially in this moment of election season, where politicians become desperate. I think it's important for us to be vigilant and support our institutions to defend the Constitution and to uphold the rule of law, regardless of what executive disposition is. We already recognize the fact that there is a tendency of democracy capture in Nigeria, and the epitome of that tendency is the lapdog character of the current National Assembly. In many states, we have such situation of executive dominance, and we have not seen state judiciaries asserting themselves against the onslaught of executive power. We are happy that in the case of Rivers State, they didn't rush the impeachment process as the House of Assembly wanted. And again, it's also good that they put a hold on the impeachment process. I think institutions take time to develop, and it is not a linear process. There are moments of advancement, and there are also moments of setbacks and retrogression, as we see what has happened with the executive in the United States. We hope that we take the lesson from this dynamism as an expression of the role of agency, that is, those individuals who hold those offices as those who can defend the institutions and strengthen them by upholding their mandates and respecting the rule of law and promoting public interest.
Right. Thank you, Prof. Let me quickly go to Barrister. Well, our guest, I don't know, he keeps going on and off the call, so we hope to reconnect with him so we can get started with the conversation with him. But in the meantime, Barrister, you want to quickly weigh in on this decision, especially, lessons for us to learn in what has unfolded there. Hello, Barrister, are you there? I think your device is muted, Barrister. Please unmute. Hello, Barrister? Barrister, your device is muted. We can't hear you. Oh, okay. Looks like we have a challenge here in Barrister. Yeah, we can't hear him. And I guess also we're trying to reconnect with him as well. Okay, Barrister. Yes, all right. Go ahead.
I was having issues with my handset.
Right.
Yes, I cannot agree with the submissions of my noble prof. I am very happy, though, that we have an example to look up to in terms of the system of government we're practicing that allows for the respective arms of government to operate within their spheres of competence. In other words, we are seeing the concept of separation of powers living in America, I do hope that we can at least take a message or two from what is happening presently. I want to look at what is happening from another angle. It is in our interest to be very vocal when it comes to our national interest, particularly at the world stage. For so long, experts had harped on the disadvantages inherent in the principles underlying the General Agreements on Tariffs and Trade, GATT. GATT is opposed to protectionism, but we are incapable of competing with our global village neighbors, particularly the West. Our infant industries need protection to evolve and become competitive. If we are concerned about our dwarfed position in global trade and considering the need to push our national interest, must we join the rest of the world to condemn Trump, who is seeing the disadvantages of the general agreements of tariffs and trade, and indeed the World Trade Organization? By protecting American industries, shouldn't we shield under that umbrella too to free Africa from its present position? So a lot of people may see what Trump is doing as wrong, upsetting world economy and what have you, but don't forget, he came with a mantra to make America great again. We must make Africa great too. Protectionism is what Africa needs now for us to bridge the gap between us and the West. So, who should we support?
Well, but Barrister, that's a very interesting take because, I mean, as much as you have interests you are pursuing, you cannot exist in isolation. Because I understand the argument for, Africa, especially a continent that is struggling in terms of continental trade, the ease of doing businesses amongst African countries. But then again, don't you need international partners as well to be able to thrive in this multilateral world that we're in right now?
I agree, we need interests, but we should be guided by our head rather than our stomach. All the conditions and conditionalities that are being imposed on us by the neoliberal institutions, particularly the Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF, the World Bank, is not helping Africa. We continue to be where we are at. Go to the international market. You'll cry because Ghana, Togo, Burkina Faso, and what have you, all of them will go to the international market with the same kind of product, and it is the West that will come and determine the prices because we are not adding value. And to add value, we must protect our industries. Look, it is high time we told ourselves the truth. I'm not saying we should live in isolation. Probably what led to the formation of BRICS. All right? So there are things we really have to sit down and consider. Right now, we are so subjugated, we listen to just about anything that comes in from IMF and the World Bank. And you can see what is happening. The present government, under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, rather than seek credibility, legitimacy, and acceptance at home, it is looking for it at IMF and World Bank and America.
All right, Barrister. Our guest is already with us. The Dr. Yusuf Maman Dantale is with us this morning. we had issues reconnecting with you earlier. He's the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council in Nigeria, the umbrella body for all registered political parties. He was re-elected for his second 2-year term in December 2025. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Yusuf, once again. Right.
Brother, apologies.
Yes.
We're having a FCT area council.
Oh, yes, I understand. It's a crucial day.
My phone is my line is a bit busy.
It's a crucial day. I mean, since you mentioned it, can you just let us into how things are unfolding so far in the FCT? Because, I've been following the trends there. There are issues around the no movement restriction that was placed by the FCT minister. There are concerns about whether or not such is needed at this point in the FCT. So can you just give us, a summary of how things are unfolding so far in this crucial day? Because we've seen lots of campaigns, before today, especially from the opposition, the African Democratic Congress (ADC), trying to push their various candidates in those council area elections in Abuja.
Okay, thank you. Good morning once again. Physically, I am in the house. I didn't go out, Ramadan is very critical for us. So whatever I say, I get this on the phone, and the TV is on. I've not really seen anything coming up. But then the idea of declaring no movement in the federal capital territory of Nigeria for area council election is an aberration. I don't think it is necessary because this is you have international activities, national activities. FCT connect to so many states. So and it also I think it is a negative image for us that for area council election the national headquarters of Nigeria will be shut down. So I didn't really like it, and it's not something that it's unusual.
Yeah, I understand, as you said, Ramadan period, Ramadan Mubarak, by the way. And, because as IPAC chairman, I imagine that you'll be getting updates and feelers as things are unfolding. So what do you make of how things are happening so far? What are the latest reports you've gotten from probably your members or party agents on ground regarding the conduct of that election? Because it's happening just about a year before that big election year. In next year, lots of questions about voter turnout, and there are those who say it's another test for the popularity, because I was watching 𝐾𝐈𝐒 yesterday, for the popularity of the FCT minister in there.
The thing is that all political parties are on the ground, they are on the field, everybody is pushing, and the materials that is supposed to be, sensitive materials have been distributed by INEC as it is, and INEC is out. We have not had anything that is not appropriate for now, no. From the calls that we get, everything is going on well. So, but we are, yes.
Right.
So we are still waiting, yes, and then we are talking to people or stakeholders the way we are supposed to talk to them to ensure that everybody conduct his activities in atmosphere of our decorum, working within the rules provided by the law.
Right. Okay, so, let's go to another very germane conversation happening in our polity at the moment. Reactions, of course, to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill that was passed after weeks and days of protest, controversy, allegations of the Senate not wanting to allow transparent and credible elections in 2027. The president has given his assent to the bill. There are those who are questioning the speedy nature of that assent given by the president, saying that, the president should have asked more questions, perhaps, taking it back to the National Assembly to put in there real-time transmission of results, because that's a bone of contention in this Electoral Act. The proviso provided by the National Assembly that, real-time transition should happen, but, if there is a failure of technology or communication, we can resort to the manual, which is the form ECATA, So let me get your reaction, because the opposition has heavily criticized what the president did by quickly signing the amendment bill into law.
The new newly assented or the new Electoral Act as amended, it came with good and unpleasant outcome. For at least the idea, the possibility of making Nigerians have easy access to their PVC, it's a welcome development that will reduce the cumbersome nature of obtaining PVC as it is in the past. If it works well, or there are no infiltrations afterwards, because before the 23 general elections, there were situations when INEC came up with the idea of beavers for the conduct of elections. There were so many PVCs that we see on the news or social media that is being dumped in places because the cloned PVCs could no longer work because of bimodal nature of accreditation. But the issue of window of we created by the Electoral Act that we can resort to manual use of manual option in the event that the uploading is not possible or there is challenge. For me and for the Inter-Party Advisory Council, it is not a welcome development. It is a recipe for crisis. We are here as Nigerians complaining about voter apathy, that Nigerians are not feel, or there is a lot of doubt or lack of trust among Nigerians in the electoral process. So where you now, the beginning of the foundation of any building is the strength of that building. So now this window, what it has done for me is to see that people will now have to, it will create some form of crisis, because whatever happened, Nigerians will now begin to, or voters will doubt that, now the system or the beavers has been deactivated deliberately or purposely, so that you cannot. So there will be crisis, and then innocent people will begin to have problems. So yes, I do not welcome that window that you can resort. So it is, because it now, I don't, we always have problem too with the judicial institution, the rule of some elements in the judiciary, what they do. Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, sir. Yes.
What their conduct in this democratic development, and that informed the first roundtable IPAC conducted when we came on board 2 years ago. Because most of the interpretation of some of these things when you go to court, because the way the court for me is overburdened with so many litigations, because there's no clear-cut interpretation or position of the law. So I don't think it is a good one.
Right.
I don't think it's a good one.
Okay.
Sincerely.
All right. So hello. Yes. We also have Otunba Segun Sowunmi joining us on the call as well. Is the founder of the Alternative Movement. Otunba Segun Sowunmi, good to have you on the podium as always.
It's nice to be with my friends and contemporaries
Yes.
and leaders, strong men of the on-air personalities like lawyer Yomi Oguntola and coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. And
next time, don't call me at short notice. Is that clear?
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, so we also have the IPAC chairman, that's the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Dr. YUSUF Mamman joining us this morning. Is the chairman of IPAC, that's the umbrella body for registered political parties in Nigeria. So we've been looking at the electoral system and the electoral acts that was assented to, passed by the Senate and assented to by the president. So Dr. YUSUF, as you know, we have two panelists joining us, Professor Remi Ayede, Professor of Political Science, University of Ibadan, and Barrister Yomi Oguntola, a legal practitioner. So they will be asking you questions as the conversation progresses. So let's go to Prof. Prof, you have the floor. I don't know if your question will be for Otunba Segun Sowunmi or the IPAC chairman. Prof?
Let me start with the IPAC chairman, Dr. Dantali. I met him on a number of occasions, and I've always wondered what IPAC is really doing to improve the institutionalization of the political parties in Nigeria. I don't know if he wants to respond to that.
When you say, I didn't hear your question very well, Prof.
What has IPAC been doing, or what can they do to make our political parties stronger, to institutionalize them? Given the fact that one of the greatest challenges for democracy in Nigeria today, it's the weaknesses of political parties as institutions that nominate candidates for elections. We have these candidates moving all over the place, and parties perpetually in crisis. They are always in court, and the crisis around leadership, whether it's a Labour Party or PDP, what role has IPAC played in trying to help with this situation?
Okay, thank you, sir. IPAC, as we all know, is an advisory body. We have no executive powers. We have no authorization to effect change, but we advise our members. We bridge, between political parties, other institutions that have to do with democracy or democratic institutions, and INEC. We have always made our position clear. Yes, political parties are weak because some individuals or some persons who had authority in the past and present decide to make political parties weak and to allow this thing be recipe for crisis in these political parties. Political parties is supposed to be, or parties are meant to be public institutions, and then we know our electioneering in Nigeria or in Africa is expensive and financially. So in the past, where political parties have been funded through grants provided by the Constitution, by the law, it was deliberately withdrawn, and political parties are left to go and to find how to fund the political parties by individuals. So, and at the end of the day, it has exposed the political parties to the dangers of who has the deeper pocket to support or drive the activities of the parties. And it is common knowledge that whoever pays the piper dictates the tune of the music. In the last election, two or three major political parties who were not strong became strong, and not because the parties were strong, but because a few individuals came into the party who had the wherewithal to do it. Look at the Labour Party, for instance. Look at NNPP, for instance. It was all the strength of these parties is instrumental to the strength energy provided by two former governors, Peter Obi, and then another former governor and former minister of defense, Kwankwaso. So what would the parties get in form of membership due? It is nothing significant to do anything in the parties. So, and as a result of this, our primary elections been affected because the man who is able to provide, even SDP, look at the influence of the presidential candidate and others. So we have been advocating for the restoration of funds to political parties. Yes, INEC have the constitutional responsibility of overseeing the spending and other oversight activities of political parties. So for parties to be able to compete fairly, we have to be able to, there should be level playing ground. Now, some of the parties that are performing that we have, today we have the APC, we have the PDP, we have APGA. These are parties who have government resources. So we also, in the other parties that were registered before the 2023 general election, the 70-something political parties, we have situations where one individual who is in the major party own some micro parties. So it is like that. So we must address how political parties are funded, and then I think that will, to a greater extent, reposition the political parties when it comes to administration of the parties.
Right. Okay, let's go to Barrister now. Barrister?
Thank you very much, Toba. My brother, I welcome you again. Now, my question is this. The role of IPAC facing our current realities. We can almost predict what the courts will do in terms of interpretation, given the provisions of the Electoral Act on electronic transmission or manual transmission. The deed is done. What would be your advice to political parties that are contesting elections in terms of, protecting the votes of Nigerians?
Okay, thank you. Now, the first election that is going to be a test for this electoral act, the new electoral act, is the FCT election. So we also have Osun State election coming up, and I think Ekiti. So now what will happen today? And that is why we all have our eyes open to see what will happen, what will be the outcome of this election. And then the political party, because it was so, this thing is so done, or the assent was so given in a hurry by the president, and there is no room for political parties to meet, because we need to have and everybody is trying to put finishing touches to the election at all levels. So it was difficult for us to meet before this election. So after this election, what we'll do is to sit down and then review what happened in line with the laws, and then parties will take decision. But it's not for me to say now or to predict anything or preempt the parties what will happen. So whatever we do after the meeting that will have as General Assembly, will come out with an outcome.
All right. Let me go to Otumba Shegun now. I mean, a series of reactions have trailed that Electoral Act Amendment Bill that was signed into law by the president. On one side, there are those who say, well, we've made some kind of progress, because now, the law references electronic transmission, and other, clauses as well. On the other side, there are those who are still arguing that we cannot have credible or transparent election until we have real-time transmission of results. That, you can do all the manual counting if you want. If the results are not captured and sent to that IRF portal, at the collation center, that's where the magic happens. That's where the distortions are made. But the IRF portal will serve, as an evidence of what had been voted and imputed, into the, from ECAT before it was captured. And the president himself, I listened to him, when he was talking about this assent to the bill. He said that yes, we are still doing manual voting and all of that. That urging the Electoral Commission to ensure that no Nigerian is disenfranchised and there is no hacking of the system. So where do you stand in this debate? There are those who say, what's the fuss about electronic transmission when we're still doing manual voting? On the other side, there are those who argue that you need transparency and credibility, and real-time transmission guarantees that. Otuma.
Well, the thing I will say first of all is that the president took that his speech from my earlier statement. I was the one who did the statement where I tried to say that the worst thing that can happen to any set of citizens, Nigerians being included, is that we look for somebody to blame, systems to blame, new laws to make for what ordinarily ought to be a reorientation issues among ourselves. And I then listed out the process of election and wondered why any set of human beings who are serious would insist that every 4 years they need a new electoral act so that they can now go and encounter the certain problem of the new act. And instead of working with it and trying to figure out how to accept it, they need another new act in another 4 years. thereby never really understanding the act that they are even using to run elections. In that regard, I then said, we go to the polling booth manually, meaning we carry our leg to go to the polling booth. We pick the papers for accreditation, yes, it's already stored in that IREV machine, which is basically keeping the data in a stabilized way. It doesn't have to fly. Then you check to see whether you are captured, almost like you are using your fingerprint to open the door of your house. That does not require too much interference. If the machine is not broken, it will show you. Then you get a piece of paper manually. Then you go somewhere and go and print it manually. Then you throw it into the box manually. Then when everybody has done that, you pour it out manually. Then you sort it with your agents manually. Then you count it manually. Then you record it in the form 𝐒𝐻𝐃𝐈𝐒 manually. The contention is, should they photocopy that from 𝐒𝐻𝐃𝐈𝐒 and transfer it via the same IREV 𝐒𝐈𝐒 kit to a central server? That's where the issue is. And I then opine that if we wrote an act that invalidated the manual, it will mean that we will never be able to have conclusive election. Because all that needs to happen is to have significant destruction of electronic, and therefore we will not have it. For a country that can have power outrages the way we have, I think that those who are screaming and shouting, if they don't have read time, are not serious. Essentially, that act that the president signed is a good act. It is a good enough act for a country in a work in progress. Nations must understand that however much they want to get into Rome, apart from the fact that it's not built in a day, the journey of building Rome also includes incremental action building that sometimes take time and cost money. And if we want full electronic voting, then we have to know that it requires complete overhaul of the system, which might probably need an electronic voting machine, which is similar to an ATM or something. I'm just doing that to make it graphic, where you just go in there, you see a board, you put your finger on it, and that's it. And therefore, if we're not at that stage yet, we can look at where we're coming from in 1999, how it was almost possible for underage people to just show up at polling units and claim their voting, how we moved from that to a point where it's no longer easy for people to just sit in their houses and say they got 10 million votes, 30 million votes. Even when they want to rig, at least they know that there's something called the total amount of registered voters and the total amount of accredited voters. Then we move to a point where parties can now understand that their business of picking their candidates is purely their business, and that the authority to pick it is already considered a single authority, activated by the chairman and the secretary. Then we move to a position where we are now at a point where they are even saying courts cannot interfere in something. So the point I'm making really is that it's extremely embarrassing that opposition elements, rather than get to the serious job of mobilization, reorientation, campaigning, explaining the ideology that they are bringing, trying to say this is what they do different and this is why they are better, bringing realistic solution to the problem. No, they are not doing that. What they are just doing is that they want to cash in on the ignorance of the people, giving the impression that the assignment beforehand is a simple assignment, whereas in reality we know that it's a very difficult assignment and it's not something that somebody can just wish away. So as far as I'm concerned, that electoral act is good. And all persons should just go and align themselves with getting ready for the process of what we all know. And if there are issues in our election, the major problem that political parties have is to look at themselves. Nobody is taking people to court apart from the politicians themselves. They overburden the court and yet they will say somebody is cheating them. Nobody is manipulating thugs and all of that. Part of ourselves. Shall we be a people that will be the problem and yet be looking for the solution elsewhere? So as far as I'm concerned, that act is a good. And when they ask us to come for the town hall meetings and what the public hearing, the political parties did not go. On the behalf of the alternative movement, I wrote a position there. I went to the place, the Senate. I defended the position. I suggested something which were accepted. And that's how to engage it. You can't wake up 24 hours on the election and start screaming they're going to review. And besides, those who are even doubting that they want electronic transfer, what gives them the assurance that they are the popular person on the day of the election? Are you not going to look at what is happening in the field, where the people are, what the people are? Are you going to be casting on national misery, and because of that now you will not let the country even have peace?
Right.
I'm concerned, the act And that act is good enough. Let's go and work with it.
Right. Otumba, the argument of those who are criticizing this assent by the president is that, there were issues post-2023, litigations here and there, that they wanted the Senate to actually put it in the law and take away the discretionary powers. That putting discretionary powers leaves a loophole that politicians could explore, that could leave room for rigging, that could even endanger the lives of maybe the presiding officer on election day. Because if the presiding officer takes the picture from ECAT and claims that there's no network, there are those who might be agitated that their votes will not count at that particular polling unit. Those are some of the grounds that they've raised.
Our responsibility is to make sure that any voter who has come to participate in voting is secured enough to be able to carry out his franchise without being intimidated, bullied, or treated badly. It also carries with it the similar responsibility of making sure that government officials, in this particular case, Independent National Electoral Commission, and their personnel can carry out their functions safely. We cannot be acting like a nation of barbarians. That kind of behavior where we'll be saying, oh, we are afraid, is all reflective of the fact that we have not been punishing people who misbehave around the election. Those who come and do violence are not angels, they are known people. You ask for their names, people can tell you their names. Those who come and scatter election day are known people. If you ask for their name, people can tell you their name. When we have not demonstrated significant resolve to insist that the consequence will happen, then you cannot be asking for what we are not yet matured for. Otherwise, why can't people be doing the election on our phones in our home? If we can do a tidy process that is significantly strong, that has integrity of data protection, why do we have to leave the comfort of our home? We are not the only nation practicing democracy. And we cannot be making it seem as if our own democracy is the worst in the world. It's not true. Most nations in the world don't even do electronic transfer of the election. And they don't quarrel, argue, talk all the time, destabilize countries, misinterpret behavior, mobilize, we don't agree every 5 minutes. What's wrong with us?
Well, don't you think, if it had been put there to reduce the amount of litigations, because,
There's no way they would have put that there, and I'll tell you why. If you have put in the act that the only way that election can be transmitted is electronically, that would then mean that for anywhere there is a glitch or for anywhere there is no coverage, we have to go back and redo that election. Because that thing written on paper will now no longer be valuable. That discretion is not put there because they want anybody to come and abuse it. That discretion is there to make sure that the entire process is reasonably flexible and reasonably secure. Why do we create a law? Why do we create the narrative and the impression in the whole world that of all the human beings in the world, we are the worst? We are not. We have just allowed people to be manipulating our brains into thinking that when they didn't win, they'll be claiming they won, and that anybody who wins an election in our country has become the victim of all of those who lost. If you want to serve people, present yourself. If the turnout is good, nobody can rig where it's not popular or where there's no turnout. I do not accept this. I'm a practicing practitioner, a politician. I've been here from the beginning. And for the record, the IPAC, man, let me just tell you one quick story. You didn't have IPAC behind my brains. We started the whole concept of having IPAC after the 2003 election. Olusegun, then president, had won the election, and Buhari would not accept. And at that time, Nigeria was always eager for international observers to accept our result. And when the challenge was on the table, I was the one that was called upon by the then DGSSS to come and think through the problem. And in thinking through the problem, I created an organization called Coalition of Political Parties of Nigeria, called COPLON. And I then said, if you create a coalition of political parties, you can have that platform to engage all the other parties. I took on the responsibility of the National Public Secretary of now defunct Liberal Democratic Party of Nigeria to speak it into life. That was the forerunner of CUPP. That's the forerunner of IPAC. We can't be pretending as if we don't know what our problems are. Nations are run according to the attitude, the culture, the behavior, the justification of their own people. Let's stop making, even if we create one now, for instance, we said, oh, they cannot do this thing unless they put the electronic via IREF. If somebody comes to the polling unit that day and he wants to be an idiot, carries the IREF machine from the hand of the guy and slams it on the ground, what do? We have to start the whole elections cost all over again. At least that ECA form is given to all agents. Any
Right.
political party that cannot produce agents in all these 176,000 polling booths is not ready or serious for election.
Okay,
Political parties cannot track their own responsibility.
Yes,
When
let's
they
go
sign
to.
form, every party is giving one, and it is an acceptable, admissible evidence in court. If you don't pick your evidence well, if you don't do your reverse projection well, if you don't get your material in such a way that is justiciable, are you going to go to court and expect the court to do you favors?
Right. Let's go to Dr. Dantali now. I mean, a lot has been said here, and if you listen to Otumba Segun showing his argument, it is essentially that politicians will always find a way to pick holes in the system. That real-time transmission does not actually guarantee transparency. That we've made some kind of progress with what has been signed by the president. What are your thoughts, Dr. Dantali?
With due respect to Mr. Segun Shoumi, while you mentioned what you did in the past, the 2023 general elections, for any Nigerian who watched or who observed the coalition, you will attest to the role of IPAC in stabilizing the system when a few individuals like Dino and the former governor Imo, when they staged the protests in the coalition hall. It was IPAC that came to establish its feet, and then that coalition went smoothly, and we didn't have, for anybody who was there, I think even the DSS would bear IPAC witness. The current president too is aware of what we did internally and physically. So that is that. You see, what we are saying, no law, we are also not happy or not comfortable that for every election, personally, every election we must come about amendment of the laws. It is not a welcome development. This is also because we are not able to stand firm to do what we are supposed to do. If we don't do what we are supposed to do now, and then somehow in practicing it, there's problem, definitely people will go back to it to review what was done yesterday. Outside this transmission, we have always addressed the foundation of the problem. We all, it is visible, obvious knowledge that the election or political participation in Nigeria is too money driven. The political office holding in Nigeria is too lucrative. That people fight to ensure that we can circumvent the laws because of maybe predominantly the economic benefit that is associated with this office, and also the role of corruption too, and the ability of the system to punish the offenders. It is not a one thing. We are not saying that the only problem we have is the transmission. No, the foundation too. Reason behind people seeking office. The lucrativity is outrageous. And it also, because election in Nigeria, yesterday in Abuja here, you see the way the security agencies have taken over the street of Abuja. For me, it is not a welcome development just for area council election. So why would our election be where the face of war? So there are so many things that we need to look at. IPAC made robust recommendation to the National Assembly Joint Committee on the Constitutional Electoral Act amendment, stemming from the appointment of the INEC chairman, funding of political parties, scrapping of the local government election, and so many others that I cannot mention. Yeah, so this is just one of the many issues that we recommended to the National Assembly for review.
Right. So, Dr. Dantali, I mean, as it is right now, what the president has, assented is law. That's what will take us into 2027. In fact, before 2027,
Exactly.
they are shown.
No doubt about that.
Yes. So are you confident? What's your assessment of what has been signed now? Going into those elections, because we have Oshun, we have I think Ekiti, as all season elections this year before next year that will go full swing into that general elections. I'd say, and the umbrella body of political parties in Nigeria, we know how politicians often react after elections. Those who are on the losing side always talk about lack of credibility and transparency. Those who win hail the Electoral Commission, also hail the judiciary as well. So, with this as the governing law, the legal framework taking us into those round of elections, both this year and next year, as an umbrella body of political parties, are you satisfied going forward with what is on the table at the moment?
You see, I mentioned this earlier when I was laying the foundation for my position on this discussion. It is not for those who did this, who made it like this. They have their own reasons. They see the advantages. Mr. Shagusho have also pointed out to some of the advantages. Fine. So the only way we can say it is good or satisfactory or not is when we put it to test. Okay. We have elections today. We are going to have elections in Oshu. We are going to have elections in Ekiti. So when we have this thing, it will now be for Nigerians to either agree or disagree to what if the system is better or not. Right. So I think it will be premature to begin to say these are proposals. These are what we expect. Now it didn't happen the way some expect. It happened the way some persons expect. We are all Nigerians. So if it's okay, all of us will attest to what will happen afterwards.
Right.
I think what is important is for Nigerians to be patient to see the outcome of the use of the new law in the elections.
Right. Let me go to
what is important is that we must all put Nigeria first in all we do.
Right. Let me go to Barrister.
Whether it's good or bad, we can always sit down and review whatever.
Okay. Let me go to Barrister now. Barrister, I don't know if your question will be for Otumba or Dr. Dantale.
Otumba.
Yes, Barrister, my man.
You never come greet us for Ibadan. Now on top phone, now you they greet us. We go fight you.
I was born in
anyway. I know you are always on the move. May God continue to protect you for what you do for this country. Now, Otumba, let me just ask this question. Now we have our Electoral Act. Between Form EC8A and assuming that there is an electronic transmission of same, to the portal, which of the two is the primary evidence of the election in a polling booth? Is it the Form EC8A, or, where it is possible, the electronically transmitted EC8A?
Without holding brief for the interpretation in the court, I suspect that anywhere the Form EC8A does not tally with what is in the electronic, I suspect that election will be cancelled.
Right.
I suspect that by this singular act, most people, when you want to see the glass as as empty, you will never see. If you now have a law that says both of them are valid, and the law expects, there's also we want to expect the expectation of the law. The law expects that if you have a Form EC8A, which was entered into the by Mother Viva's machine.
Yes.
And you get, for instance, maybe at the point where you are now having disputes, and you prove that this is what was in the unmutilated Form EC8A, which all your agents have taken away, and somebody comes there and shows a beaver that is maybe, I expect the judge to remove it, because now we have been allowed that both of them are now valid. I'm just speculating until they get to court. There's something called interpretation court before they do that. But the point I really wanted to add from what the IPAC man said, that I thank you very much for what you do, IPAC. And by no means am I saying that IPAC is not a useful, or it is. In fact, I doubt if we did not have IPAC, if this democracy would not have collapsed on our head. Now, the issue I even may have, whether I'm a practicing politician, what is my biggest headache in that act? It's not even all this electronic transfer. My biggest headache in that act is the fact that now they have removed the delegate system. Now, by removing that delegate system, what has happened is that candidates now, they have given us an extremely expensive process to go through for the purposes of nomination. We are now at the mercy of all card-carrying members. That also produces the next problem. We now have to be sure that the register of political parties have integrity. This is part of the reasons why people like me feel very uncomfortable with the fact that we are always signing a new act every time. These two singular clauses alone, any serious political party must know the implication of that. It means that their own register must have electronic integrity to such a point that if it is requested by the court or in a dispute, it can stand the test of time. Now they've taken the law now has put the burden of integrity of election now back to political party. Now the question then is who's going to fund it for small parties? When the party in charge now has taken almost all the governors in the country, almost in a heist, who's going to fund it? How are we going to be able to make sure that we can realistically carry it on? Anyway, the law is the law as appended. And now that they've signed it, the next thing for us is to go and study it, begin to do a lot of retreat on it, so that we that even want to work with the law will even understand what are the silent and the not so silent implications of this law. But what I don't like, and I truly mean this, and I pray that the IPEC chairman and I can work together on this, we need to ensure that we are not going to allow any would-be or supposed messiah to insist that this country will not make progress only because they want to serve us. If you want to serve, it's a very difficult job serving. If you want to serve well, you don't have to insist that you have to serve by force or that the country will have no breathing space because you want to serve. And you cannot encourage people to be running the concept of owning the pigeon.
Please. Thank you. I want a better clarification on your response to my question. The intendment of Form EC8A, from what you submitted, is being, perhaps reduced or paling into insignificance. If you say that where results are transmitted electronically and there is a problem, that the election in that polling unit will be cancelled. I do not think that is the intendment of the drafters of the Electoral Act, because the Form EC8A remains a valid formal document. If there is consistency between the Form EC8A held by the polling agents and the presiding officer at the election, why should it not be the primary document?
Okay, thank you very much. You see, I want you to let us reason this together. There would have been no need for that clause in the Electoral Act that has introduced that pathway that the Form EC8A, being a legal and valid document, should, as much as possible, be transferred into the electronic beavers, whatever. I have not told you that the Form EC8A is not a valid thing. I'm only saying that you would have gone through declaration, you would have gone through announcement. If you get to litigation, a smart litigant can, if he can show cause why what is in the Form EC8A that is valid is different from what is in the electronic board. You know what I'm trying to say? Ordinarily, there should be no difference. Ordinarily, there should be no difference. But in the playing the devil's advocate that, okay, somebody has gone to sit down now and started manipulating it. The question would then be, at the point of evidence law, to try to tell the court that this discrepancy has already produced the reason for the cancellation of that polling unit. And ordinarily, it should not be too rampant. Our major problem is to speak to ourselves as politicians. The electorate is not the one that is manipulating. It is always the party agents and their party handlers and candidates. So the number of people we need to put our eyes on is not 120 million or 90 million or 100 million voters. They just come in, they want to cast their vote. It is the people that are manipulating the process. And just like myself and the APEC man have said, our major reason why this thing has continued is that there has been no sure consequence. If we had been very consequential about punishing people for this indiscretion, nobody would do it again. How long, for so long, are we continuing like this? That's really the point. But you remember that there will be something called interpretation clause. They've just written the act. How they've gazetted it. They're still going to call the judges themselves and the lawyers. They're going to do seminar review for them to explain the meaning for them. That's usually the practice. By the time we now get to courts, every court being, especially electoral court, being sui generis, the tribunal is not going to do the interpretation. Our prayer will now be, let there be consistent interpretation of the law. Bottom line is that we are a nation that is in need of an alternative way of doing things and a better reform among ourselves. We can't be disgracing ourselves in the world, man.
Right. Okay. Let me quickly go to Dr. Dantale before I go to Prof. I just want to get your thoughts on another very important part of the law that people are not paying attention to. I think it was Otumba Shegun that highlighted it earlier. The fact that the delegate system, or indirect primary as they call it, has now been jettisoned. What we now have is direct primary and the consensus system, really. And looking at how important, the selection process within a political party is towards having a, dispute-free election. How crucial is this aspect of the law? Although there are those who have said, well, the delegate system is corrupt. People bring in dollars to the indirect primary at the convention on that day to buy voters and all of that. But if you want to really test your popularity, go for the direct primary. Have a register, because all the political parties now are doing online registration. Have a register of your members and test your popularity there instead of buying votes from those delegates that have been nominated across states and local government areas. What's your thought regarding this, as we go into the 2027 elections? Dr. Yusuf Dantale.
Thank you. I agree with Mr. Shegun on that. Because, you see, with that, you are making the system more expensive, because there's also a provision now that membership, when he talked about electronic validation of party register, I think in the new Electoral Act, it is also a condition that membership must have to be validated with the use of phone numbers and need. I think it is a need. So you can't just be a member because your name is on the register. You have to be, your membership has to be verifiable using this instrument. So I don't know. All these things until they are tested. Okay, for those who did it, they have their reasons. But removing, because the indirect primaries,
they say it is corrupt. They say it is corrupt. Indirect primary, they say it is corrupt. People buy votes.
All the systems are corrupt. Even this one is corrupt. People still buy votes from the voters. Voters still sell their votes. The systems are all corrupt. So that if you can't say, if it's corruption, we have to be total. We have to be deliberate. You understand?
Yes.
So it is not about that. You cannot separate people's economic life or their social life from their political life. Okay? The economic life of average Nigerian is, so if we want to talk about corruption, we must be holistic about it. What about the security agencies? What about the judiciaries that deliver judgment, members of judiciary, some of them that deliver judgment without a justice? So it is hydra-headed problem. So corruption issue is a different thing. It is there. We must look at it if we have to sanitize the entire. So it is. We have a lot. But let's test what we have now.
Right.
And then the outcome will determine. But in all, for us as Nigerians, we must, whatever position you find yourself, those who were there before, who had the opportunity to do what they were supposed to do, that refused to do it, whether deliberately or otherwise. Today, some of them are coming together in form of opposition or coalition to take over power. So the same thing for whoever have the opportunity today to do it. Power is transient. It belongs to God. It belongs to the people. Whether you like it or not, you won't be there forever. So if you have the opportunity, history will remember you for whatever you do today, tomorrow.
Right. So, let's take this break. When we get back, we'll go to Prof. Do stay with us. Remember, we're live on Facebook, 32FM 949 FM. Do stay with us. The Podium returns in a moment.
Stay tuned to 32FM 94.9.
Lákòókò Ramadan yìí Kivo non-dairy creamer ń darapọ̀ mọ́ gbogbo ẹbí jákèjádò Nàìjíríà nínú àdúrà àròjinlẹ̀ àti ìrẹ́pọ̀.
Láti sàárì sí ìṣínú, ṣe àfikún adùn sí ife tíì, kọfí, custard tàbí ògì pẹ̀lú ìṣerere Kivo tó kì pọ́pọ́.
Tí oòrùn bá ti wọ̀, tí àwọn olólùfẹ́ kórajọ fún ìṣínú, jẹ́ kí àkókò kọ̀ọ̀kan ní ìtumọ̀, kó rọrùn, kó sì dùn sí i pẹ̀lú Kivo non-dairy creamer. Kivo non-dairy creamer jẹ́ kí Ramadan yìí jẹ́ àkókò ìṣerere.
Umar, since when did you start bringing surprise iftar packages home? See Malta Guinness.
I didn't buy this one. No. Remember that woman I said I helped this morning with a heavy generator?
Yes, how can I forget?
That same one. Her grandson Ibrahim bought this masa and Malta Guinness.
See, sharing goodness brings blessings. Please pass me the can of Malta Guinness. We need to call our neighbors to join us at the table.
This Ramadan, nourish your iftar with the great taste of malted Guinness. Malted Guinness, sharing goodness brings blessings.
Every meal I cook must taste just right. Rich, delicious, full of love.
We hear you. Your Maggie Star in double cubes, double the flavor, double the convenience. The same trusted taste you love. Maggie Star double cubes, made from fermented soya and other selected ingredients for that deep flavor and quality that only Maggie brings to your dishes.
Absolutely delicious.
Get Maggie double cubes today. Me and Maggie, so good together.
Àǹfààní ńlá tún lélẹ́yìí o fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ fẹ́lẹ̀ níbi táwọn èèyàn ti ń gbé tí iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná wà ń bẹ̀ tọ́nà sí ìdádórí ilẹ̀ náà pẹ̀lú perimeter fence àtàwọn ohun amáyédẹrùn mìíràn pàápàá jùlọ tí kò sí wàhálà ọmọ nílẹ̀ kálẹ̀ kó gbalẹ̀ lójú ẹsẹ̀ ni. Iléeṣẹ́ mi 𝐾𝐾 Global Engineering Company Limited tó wà ní MKK Multipurpose Building Agada Odò Ẹja New Garage Area Ìbàdàn. Iléeṣẹ́ tó ti wà fún ọ̀pọ̀ ọdún sẹ́yìn tí kò sì sálẹ̀bù nínú orúkọ wọn. Àwọn olónílẹ̀ Grace Estate tó wà ní Adébáyọ̀ Academy Olómi Area Olúyọ̀lé Local Government Headquarters Office Ìbàdàn. Ilẹ̀ Grace Estate tà ní 1.7 million nítorí àǹfààní Mayor KK 18th anniversary àti jẹ́ àwọlẹ̀ sí 1.2 million naira pẹ̀lú ẹ̀bùn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà làǹfààní san díẹ̀díẹ̀ náà tún wà. Ìwọ náà tara ṣẹ̀ṣà kó wá gba fọ́ọ̀mù káǹfààní yìí ó tó kásẹ̀ ńlẹ̀. Ẹ pè tàbí kẹ́ WhatsApp ká lè fi fídíò bí estate náà ṣe rí gẹ́lẹ́. Ṣọwọ́ sí yín 07053936013.
This Ramadan, emotions ignite. Can rival sisters overcome pride? Will a defiant daughter find forgiveness? Can a bride's faith save her husband? A businessman rediscovers family. An influencer chooses between friends and fame. A single mom discovers even strength needs support.
6 stories, 30 days. Faith, family, friendship, food, forgiveness. Tales of Ramadan Season 2. Catch every dramatic moment on TV and digital. This Ramadan, Maggie turns up the heat.
Me and Maggie, so good together.
Umar, since when did you start bringing surprise iftar packages home? See Malta Guinness.
I didn't buy this one. No. Remember that woman I said I helped this morning with a heavy generator?
Yes, how can I forget?
That same one. Her grandson Ibrahim bought this masa and Malta Guinness.
See, sharing goodness brings blessings. Please pass me the can of Malta Guinness. We need to call our neighbors to join us at the table.
This Ramadan, nourish your iftar with the great taste of malted Guinness. Malted Guinness, sharing goodness brings blessings.
Here you go, dear.
Mom, you didn't add milk.
No need to. Taste it and see why.
Wow, but how?
Is it milky?
Yes.
Is it creamy?
Yes.
That's Milo 3-in-1 milky and creamy for you. It's so milky. I don't need to add more milk.
I love it, Mommy.
Give your kids Milo 3-in-1, milky and creamy. It's truly milky. It contains calcium to help your champ win every day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo. Dr. Strap Recycle àti tamọ́tò dìrọ̀rùn gbáà fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ fẹ́ tamọ́tò ní cash and carry no delay. Dr. Strap ó rà lọ́wọ́ yín èyíkéyìí mọ́tò tẹ́ ẹ bá fẹ́ tà eléyìí tó dúró re ni àbí eléyìí tó ti gorí odó tòun èyí tó ti di ilé ìdọ̀tí ládùúgbò àlòkù ọkọ̀ tí tù fi taruku tí ń yọ olówó rẹ̀ lẹ́nu tó ti fẹ́ sọra rẹ̀ di àgbàná fún yín tòun tí ọkọ̀ tí nǹkan kan ò ṣe tẹ́ fẹ́ tà kẹ́ fi pààrọ̀ ọkọ̀ kẹ́ tún fi upgrade bó ṣe car truck bus trailer ipò yòówù kí mọ́tò ọ̀hún wà Dr. Strap ó rà lọ́wọ́ yín ẹ kàn sí wọn 09083013333 09083013333 09083013333 and wọn lórí Twitter Instagram àti Facebook ni @Dr. Strap Recycle Dr. Strap Recycle dé mọ́tò títà dìrọ̀rùn.
Every meal I cook must taste just right. Rich, delicious, full of love.
We hear you. Your Maggie Star in double cubes. Double the flavor, double the convenience. The same trusted taste you love. Maggie Star double cubes. Made from fermented soya and other selected ingredients for that deep flavor and quality that only Maggie brings to your dishes.
Absolutely delicious.
Get Maggie double cubes today. Me and Maggie, so good together.
32 FM
94.9.
Welcome back to the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. If you're just joining us, we have Otumba Shegun with us this morning. Is the founder of the Alternative Movement. We also have the chairman, national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Dr. Maman Yusuf Dantale. We're discussing the electoral system, the newly signed Electoral Act Amendment Bill, which was assented to by the president a few days ago. So let's go to Prof now. Prof, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. There's a question that has continued to bother me. The two guests made allusion to that particular question. The first is that one of our greatest problems is the inability to hold people to account. We're talking about people who have committed electoral malpractices that get away with it without consequences. And I was wondering why that is the case. Because I remember when Mahmoud came into office as chairman, one of the first commitments he made was to ensure that anyone, including INEC officials, especially INEC officials, involved in any form of electoral malpractice will be brought to book. And then we've seen situations where some professors and other officials have been jailed for malpractices. I'm wondering, given the current circumstances, from my experiences in 2023 onward, why is it difficult to bring consequences to electoral malpractice, and what can be done to ensure that anyone who misbehaves will be held to account concerning elections, whether they be INEC officials, political party officials, or even voters?
So is that for Dr. Dantale? Or both of them can answer?
Both of them can answer
okay.
The question.
Okay, I think,
yeah.
yes. Doctor, you can go first. Hello, doctor.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. In solving, you are a professor. So when you want to solve a problem and you don't address the root, and you continue addressing the symptoms, the problems will definitely continue to linger. It's the same thing with terrorism, banditry, or Boko Haramism that we have today. So we keep on, the security agencies, yes, they are trying, at least they are arresting and then maybe doing the needful to the men on the field. But we have find it difficult to go extra mile to get the sponsors or those behind the curtain. So the people, if we arrest the INEC officials, we arrest INEC officials, punish them, arrest the people, those who we see on the field, but we do not go extra mile to who are the sponsors, because the man who is operating the machine is not the one seeking office. So in whose interest is he working? Okay, the security agencies are working or trying to be one-sided. For in whose interest are they doing? So until we are able to go extra mile to punish the actual beneficiaries of this crime, it will continue. So this is my stake.
Yeah, I mean, when you say the root, if I go to Otumba, I mean, what exactly is the root? Because from your explanation, it looks like it is still the politicians that are trying to manipulate the system and circumvent the laws for their interests. So what is the root?
Exactly.
Okay, it is the politicians themselves.
Yes, of course.
So, but they are the ones that
are able to get.
Okay.
If you get an offender, you should find out who is he or she working for. How did he come about? You arrest somebody, okay, who is in possession of cash to buy vote, but we don't go extra mile to get where did you get the who are you doing this for? So there must be for you lawyers a vicarious responsibility.
Right. Yeah, doctor.
Okay.
Toba, let me crave your indulgence.
Go ahead, please.
We have been making recommendations to government. Unfortunately, those to put it into a law are the direct beneficiaries of the rot. It is very simple. Like doctor said, if we want to curb this problem, if you arrest somebody buying votes on election day, if you arrest somebody who went to snatch a ballot box or any other criminality relating to elections, it is the person who aided and abetted that crime to be committed that should face the principal consequences. For as long as we allow the politicians to go, and then you go and start punishing innocent people who, to feed their belly, collected 10,000, 20,000 naira and sending them to jail, you are not solving the problem. I think this is what doctor is saying, and I agree with him.
Yeah, yes. I mean, so let me go to Otumba now, because he's also a politician. Because at the end of the day, when these elections are conducted, it is the politicians that will talk about, INEC has been bought, INEC has killed democracy, then they go after the judiciary again. So what then is what's the need for them really? Because if they are the ones that are at the root of all of this, they are also the ones that would criticize the system and talk about how it has been manipulated if things don't go their way. I mean, there are still those who are very much dissatisfied with how things panned out in 2023, talking about how the system was manipulated, talking about how, those who won had rigged the election against them. Now we're approaching 2027 again. They're saying that the Electoral Act has been designed to circumvent the law in 2027. So, Otumba, I just want to get your take. If the politicians are the root cause, from the IPAC chairman himself, and you're also a politician, you've been in this ecosystem for quite a while. What exactly is the need for these politicians? Why are they doing what they do?
Well, let me be very upfront. Nigeria is a unique country. The most effective funder, enabler, business, raiser, empowerer of every sector, not just political sector, including private sector, is the Nigerian government. The Nigerian government is designed in such a way that more than 80% of what they do is just putting value for people who want to do business, who want to take money, who wants to be this, who want to do contract. We are a very mega financial empire where everybody is taking advantage. The amount of policies we do that are really policies are very few compared to the amount of who guess what that we do here. We have to be careful about that. And when you have that kind of environment, those who are tangentially related or right on the seat, who are called politicians, or who can be politicians, or those who can be appointed or elected and all that, the stakes gets very high. What other nations have done to curb this nonsense is to ensure that your proximity to the till or to government office carries with it huge and significant consequence. We have seen countries where former presidents have been jailed. We have seen countries where prime ministers have been removed or forced to retire just because they breach what they call a moral code. We have seen situations where people are so careful of that office that those who want money don't even come near it because the banana peel there is so obvious and the consequence of it is so clear. Look at what is going on in our country today. You have in Malami and Nasir El-Rufai being called upon to give account of their still worship over the years. You will see some people getting angry, getting unnecessarily emotional, complaining that it's victimization. Who sent them to go and misbehave? Did anybody send them to go and steal? So our problem in Nigeria, really, my well-considered opinion, and I'm an authority on this democracy. I can give people date and time of what we contributed to make this democracy stand. Our major problem is that we have not found the courage to punish people. If we had been punishing them, people would have known that when the governor means you are at the risk of abuse of office. Abuse of office carries 10 years, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. People would have known that there's no immunity for senators. People would have known that there's no immunity for local government chairmen and what have you. And people would have known that government money must necessarily be accounted and audited. People would have known that you can't take government money without leaving a paper trail. People would have known that civil servants carry the administrative, the administrative memory of government business. And that at any point in time, you can carry people and make them pay for these things. If we had been making them pay, by now we would have been able to sieve the criminals from those who want to serve. So what we have now is that we are a democracy in interregnum. We are not yet really a democracy. And in the meantime, while we are still trying to become democracy, we shouldn't destroy it because of some very annoying, irritating Messiah complex who are manipulating the people. If we are able to insist that the law, the books will be thrown at people, the law will be thrown at you, before we run two circles, you will see that people who like money in America, they don't go into government houses. They would rather be lobbied. They would rather be friend of government. They would rather be business people. But in our own country, the thieves are the ones sitting in authority. How do we then expect them to run the law in a way that will be useful for everybody? Unfortunately for us, we are a growing population. We are a young population. We are a country that is going to deal with existential consequences of the new geopolitics and the global order. That's why people like me talk. That's why we do what we do. Other than that, I don't know what else I can advocate. Because the laws are there, but they will never be used. The consequences are there, they will never be used. The rules are there, the security organizations are there, the control agencies are there, they will never be used. And you cannot dissuade people into a crisis.
Otumba, permit me to corroborate what you have just said. Somebody called me yesterday and he said, Barrister, have we forgotten about Offer 33? Those innocent lives that were taken unnecessarily in the course of a bank robbery. Those arrested suspects were interrogated. Their interrogation was made public. Today, we have not heard anything about it. That's the country we live in.
Absolutely, absolutely. You just marvel. You marvel at the kinds of things they get away with. You marvel at how, okay, I want to be governor in Ogun. I cannot by any means call myself a multi-billionaire. Why would I become governor tomorrow and then tomorrow morning you see me, I have a private jet, I have the biggest house in the society, and the society will not query. That's what we are doing to ourselves. We know the thieves among us. We know those who don't have a right to what they are parading. And yet, we all pretend that we don't know, only to go back and start shouting, as if even if they wrote us an ironclad act, we have the character to respect it. What's the big deal about choosing people? Are the people not supposed to generate from our midst? You want to choose a councillor, is it not the people in your area? You want to choose a rep, is it not your area people? You want to choose a senator, is it not your area people? You want to choose a governor, is it not your area people? If Even if you want to choose a president, is it not your citizens? Why should we be choosing somebody that we ourselves is no good for us? Or why should we allow the country to be manipulated into an arrangement where people will just be talking without making sense, and then they'll be instigating people, they'll be overheating the polity, they'll be paying people to come and do perpetual protests in a nation that is in need of stability. We're not serious. We are not serious.
Okay, Otumba, let's try and take some calls now. Get reactions. Remember, you can be a part of the conversation on Facebook, 32FM 949 Fenye. That's on Facebook. You can also call 0705 5000 949, 0705 5000 949, 0906 2000 949, 0906 2000 949, and 009 7000 949, 009 7000 949, 0705 5000 949, 0906 2000 949. Those are the numbers to call to be a part of the conversation. Let me take this. Hello. Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ido.
Right. Good morning.
You know
sir.
what?
Yes, sir.
You know what? We deserve the type of leaders we have. We cannot get good leaders from the type of followers we have in Nigeria. And I can tell you, all those who are complaining, in fact, somebody has said that the level of complaint is proportional to how far you are from the till. Let me tell you, let us go back to the basics. All these politicians, and I mean all, from A to B to Z to D party, everybody is going there to try and get a hand in the till. That is the truth. That is the absolute truth that most people don't want to hear. The people who can make a change don't have the resources to make that type of change. So that is our problem. Look, for me, we are in a lost generation. Let us go back and start with all these young kids in school. Teach them that hard work pays. Teach them that you don't steal. For our own generation, it is all gone. All the people that are complaining about this electoral act, that electoral act, are just waiting for an opportunity to get there. We have had all the Rufais, all the people. There are some of them that have been in government for the past 24 years, and they are still going to opposition, telling us that the government, one government is bad. In the 24 years they were in government, what did they do? Let them come and point out to what they have done. Right. As far as I'm concerned, this generation is a lost generation.
Right.
Let us go back to all the kids and start teaching them the values, moral values, that look, you don't steal, hard work pays. For this generation, forget it. For all those talking in all these radio programs.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. My name is Ado from UI.
Good morning.
On the aspect of electronic transmission of results that our own barista was making us to think that Nigeria that let me ask why is it that every person supporting APC, I've never seen someone that see the possibility of this thing working out. It's not good, but I used to, with my due respect, Barista Shobi when PDP was having a problem that was very until you join these people. I want to ask Barista Shobi, the election are producing a river to go and check the results. Everything shifted and judiciary validated it. When they reach the election, President Tinubu was one that said, go to court. What was the outcome? Let's find a way to sanitize this country. Terminal is working everywhere. But you people without anything, they're making that work because you want to manipulate, you want to rig the election. That is it.
Right.
And it's not good for this country. That's the better today.
All right. Thank you. Otumba Shegun will respond to you, but let's take this one on the other line. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Kunle.
Yes, sir.
If I may ask, please, when we are talking about the people, committing or that they need to be punished, who's supposed to punish them? Is it the Nigerians or the government? Because we are in a country where the president have the right to nominate INEC chairman. We are in a country where government, let me say presidency, they build houses for judges. So who's supposed to punish these people? I think we need to begin to look at these things one by one, because if we say we should punish them, then I don't know who's supposed to do it, please.
Right.
If there is answer to it, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, so let me go to Otumba first. The first call came from the other line. He was talking about how we deserve the kind of leaders that we are getting in this country because we have a followership problem as well. The other one talked about, I don't know if you got it, Otumba, showing me that, he's wondering if you have joined the APC, that right now, every time anybody criticizes the Electoral Act, you sort of criticize the person, that the Electoral Act is the way it is because the APC plans to rig. But let me take this and then we'll come back to you. Hello. Okay, so Otuma, I don't know if you have joined the APC as a caller alleged. Please, you want to clarify? Yes.
I have been in this process of getting all this democracy in '94. That's when I started knowing the president. I did not go to his party when he was governor. I'm not going to his party even today. If I speak on the Nigerian development, I speak because I know what I'm talking about. I don't have time for this childishness. If you write an electoral act and we read it, I will tell you this is what is there. How do you know APC wants to rig? The last one that they won, when they won us in 2015, were they the ones that wrote the electoral act that defeated them? Did Buhari write the electoral act with which they defeated PDP? You people just say what you like. The major challenge on election is the people themselves. And do not be deceived. Don't listen to the nonsense of people who have no brains. If you are an electorate, if you turn up on the day, if you mobilize yourself to the place, if they give you your paper, if you go into the place and vote for it, if they count it and your party won there, who told you they will rig it? The fact that somebody lost an election and is shouting they rigged me, does that mean it's correct? Does it mean that the person that won is always guilty in this country? Didn't we rule for 16 years writing the electoral and yet we lost in 2015? Is that your business? That's your damn bloody business.
Okay,
I'm giving
yes.
Professional position. I've broken it down. I've tried to explain how we can make progress in the country. Do I look like a small child that will be telling you that because your silly leaders are talking nonsense, I must join them to say the same thing? This electoral act can never be perfect because the major thing that affects our elections are the people themselves. And it is not the electorate that affects the election. It is the politician conniving with ad hoc staff and INEC. So if we want to stop this nonsense, we need to continue the orientation I have been doing with my own resources. Everywhere we go, the alternative is just to beg people that you need to change. Nobody is going to repair this country for us apart from ourselves. A process I started more than 30 years ago. Do you know how old I was 30 years ago? Do you know how old I am now? So how will I not be scared that we are not making as much progress? Have you seen my hand in any of their appointments? Have you seen me helping them to? Have you seen me in their till? Apart from just trying and wishing everybody well, the things I do is what national orientation is supposed to be paying for. But if I leave it to them, will they do it? Or will I be happy that every year we are the only country in the world that will be behaving as if we are the only one doing democracy? What kind of top of nonsense is that? They are doing elections in Ghana. They are doing elections everywhere. You think the elections are perfect? They are doing elections in India. Do you know maybe? Yeah. They are doing elections in Singapore. Do you know how destabilized the place? How so diverse the place is? They are doing an election in Brazil. They will have more than 80 million people turn up. Where are you people on the day of election? You won't come out. You just sit down in your sitting room. That will be manipulating your ignorance. I will be telling you that is not the right way, and then you have the temerity to be telling me I want to be in there. If I want to go to APC, are you going to stop me?
Okay, Otumba. Let me go to Dr. Dantali now. Very quick, because we're about to wrap up the conversation. I want to touch on two things. First, the concerns that we are tilting towards a one-party state from the various defections we are seeing. I think the APC has about 30 governors now in their fold. There are those who are worried that this is taking us into what they say is not good for our democracy. That's one. Number two is what Otumba highlighted earlier, the fact that, the voter apathy is a big issue. The number of people coming out to vote has been drastically reducing. It was also very low in 2023 as well. Out of about 80 million people that registered, we had just about 20-something million that came out to vote. Dismally low numbers. So what do you think is responsible for this, and how do we curb it going to 2027? Those two things very quickly as we, wrap up the conversation this morning.
Okay, thank you. When you talk about voter apathy, so many things are responsible. In 2023 general elections, INEC embarked on the cleanup of the voter register. and with the use of bimodal accreditation system. The BVAS was used in cleaning up the system, and that eliminated multiple registrants on the age and a lot. So the votes that you have in 2023 election is the actual people that voted. But in the past, votes were being manufactured because we have multiple registrants. That wasn't possible. That is one. Secondly, you see, when we talk, we are always talking about democracy at the state and national level, or state and federal level. But nobody is really focusing on what is happening at the level that government is closest to the people, the third-tier government, local government. Yes, the State Independent Electoral Commission has the same legal status as the Independent National Electoral Commission. From what is happening today in Abuja, you see election, real election, because there is competition. People aspire to get voted into offices. But in the election being conducted by State Independent Electoral Commission, 𝐶EC, there are no votes. In the words of Professor Mahmoud, former INEC chairman, he said what is happening in the state at the state level is like coronation of a candidate. In most cases, the local government chairman and councillors you have are just boys to the governors. With due respect to the governors, we don't have anything. So the literacy level of the average Nigerian. Most time we confuse the elections being conducted by 𝐶EC to the election being conducted by INEC. So the idea will be, okay, no be so they don't write and finish, what you want to do. So it is a difficult thing. So IPAC has been at the forefront of advocacy for scrapping of State Independent Electoral Commission, because what they do is nothing compared to election. After all, the instrument used for the conduct of election all belong to INEC. Voters register, PVC, on a ballot box, almost everything that they use is for INEC. So why should INEC? And INEC also conduct election. All the election be conducted, the general election is also conducted to the same wards and local government that 𝐶EC conducts. So for us, we have been advocating for, and that is largely responsible for the dysfunctional or absence of government status or governance status at the local government level, and that has is greatly affecting the social and economic life of average Nigerian in the villages, at the grassroots. So it's something that we must look at, we must talk on. And what is the second question?
One party state, very quickly, under a minute. One party state, yes.
One party state is not possible for me in Nigeria. You can't have one party state in Nigeria. Looking at cultural, ideological, even though today there are arguments that parties are not form-based on ideologies, but still there are differences. You have a lot of differences, tribal differences, religious differences. So it will be very difficult. Yes, well, let's see what will be the outcome of what we have today now. But at least the status that we have today have not been put to test.
Yes.
So maybe when we put it to test during and or after congresses of the parties and then the elections, then we'll know the outcome. We'll now agree, yes, if it's possible to have a and then you also see that the coalition is springing up in ADC.
Yes.
And others are still coming up. Parties are being registered. But now we have 3 new political parties registered. So if it is possible to have a one-party state, I don't think this will come up. So I don't think it will be.
Right. Thank you so much. So we're wrapping up the conversation now. Barrister, final round of questions, comment as we wrap up. We have about 3 minutes to end the conversation this morning.
No problem.
Yes.
You know that Otumba is a regular laugher.
Yes.
on our program.
All right.
So let us try and make Doctor share in that joy that is on our station.
And Doctor is fasting. He's fasting right now. So
you know, we always try to make people laugh here.
Yes.
I know.
At the beginning of the program,
yes,
you said you are fasting.
Yes.
And that's why you are not on the field.
Yeah.
Abi, are you among those people who advocated for the change in the electoral calendar for next year. make we know.
My advocacy is for inclusivity. So if we have a divergence, what we do is to try to say that all interest is accommodated. So we looked at all that.
Thank you.
God will help you.
Yes.
Well, you people will have another election. Well, we traditional practitioners, we have our own festival too.
Thank you so much. And thank you. Let me go to Prof now. Prof, final round of questions and comments. And I also wanted to congratulate Prof as he's been appointed as the chairman of the editorial board of Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Prof, congratulations. So, Prof, final comments as we wrap up. Hello, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Just to say that I've enjoyed the comments by our two guests, and I think Otumba showed me in his individual elements makes very caustic comments. I think it was miffed by some of the questions that was raised concerning his own role as an individual. But I think that both guests are somehow different from the typical kind of guests that we have. Though they are partisan, they take a non-partisan approach to politics, and I hope that the public interest will continue to reign in their endeavors. So I can only wish them the best, and I hope that our democracy will continue to grow stronger and stronger with the kind of interventions that they are making and they will continue to make.
Right.
Thank you
so much. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you, Barrister. Thank you, Dr. Maman Yusuf Dantale. Thank you, Otumba Shomi, for being a part of the podium. Thank you, dear listener, for joining us. Don't forget to join us again on the podium on next Saturday, 9 to 11 a.m. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday morning. Bye for now.